Hi, class. I hope you're having a great week. We are entering module 6 of 8, so definitely on the home stretch of this class. This is actually the last week where we have to cover 3 chapters, so it will slow down the final couple weeks. So I just kind of wanted to go over what we'll be covering this week. It's similar to the setup of previous weeks where, again, we'll cover 3 chapters. You'll do some mind tap work for one of the chapters. You'll do a discussion post for another chapter, and we'll have a quiz that covers all 3 chapters as part of this week's work. So, what you're learning this particular week is understanding individual behavior, leadership, as well as motivating employees. So, hopefully, some interesting stuff for you. And you can really start to shape what you want to be as a manager, and really maybe some different things that you might look at in the future when you're looking at jobs. So, to start off in the first chapter we're learning this week, you'll do a self assessment to figure out if you're self confident, which is really important in leadership and management. From there, you're going to be learning about understanding both individual behavior and organizational behavior, which is really key to becoming an effective manager, maintaining a positive culture, but also maintaining the job satisfaction of your employees. And I don't know if you all can relate, but for me, there's not usually a constant with job satisfaction. I might have a bad day, I might have a bad meeting, and it's really important that I find my own ways to bounce back, as well as that my culture is a place that I want to continue to work at. In addition, in this chapter, you'll learn about how to solicit feedback, which is really important. So I also teach organizational behavior, and really the key to organizational behavior is finding out what motivates people, what's important to them, but how you can effectively communicate with individuals and get through to them. Additionally, is how you acknowledge blind spots. So for me as a leader, it's tough to be critical of maybe things that I'm not good at or things that I overcompensate at, but those are my blind spots that I'm constantly aware of. This chapter also covers perceptions and attributes. One of the key takeaways from this chapter are the big 5 personality factors of yourself and others. I'm hoping that at some point in your life, you've also done a Myers Briggs assessment to learn about your personality type. And you'll find that interviewing present day, a lot of companies are really looking at how emotionally intelligent you are and how you respond to situations rather than if you have the technical skills, because they can teach you those, right? So, one thing that I work on a lot with my employees is something called self management, and really just educating them on emotional intelligence and how they can evolve. Self management is so key in a leadership position to be balanced, to be effective, to be happy. And it doesn't always have to be like that every day, as long as you can be self aware of what you need to do to get there. Next chapter talks about leadership, leads into some of the same stuff that the previous chapter phases out on. So, the self assessment you'll do in this chapter is about working on tasks versus people. So, it's really important that obviously the future job that you select matches where your interests are and where you want to go. You'll learn about really the main definition of leadership versus management, which are 2 very different things. You'll learn about servant leaders, authentic leaders. You'll learn about a couple of different behavioral approaches. You'll learn about a charismatic leader, and hopefully you can identify one that you know versus a transformational leader. I really coin myself as a transformational leader, and a lot of the jobs that I'm taking, I've been charged at either creating a culture, changing a really bad culture, or maybe working on a culture that's just average and trying to take it to the next level. So you definitely can't do that as one person. You have to be a transformational leader to be able to create the cultural change you want to see, but also the processes that match. Finally, this chapter talks about different types of power, which again is just really important that you're self aware of. Final chapter of this week is on motivating employees. So, again, a self assessment on what motivates you. I think I asked this at the very beginning of the class of what motivates you to physically be here, complete your degree. Also, what motivates you every day at work beyond the paycheck that you receive every week. So, that's something that I hope that you all have a list either written down of somewhere or have in your in your head of what motivates you and really where you want to go in the future. So this chapter will talk about the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Hopefully you kind of have a balance of a little bit of both, that you like to come to work to get the paycheck, but there's also some sort of reward that you get out of the job, or maybe it's the ability to be remote a couple days a week that really just works well with your lifestyle. In addition, you'll learn about something called the ERG theory, which talks about existence, relatedness, and growth. You'll learn about a couple different approaches to motivation, as well as job design for motivation. So hopefully at some point you've had a boss, or maybe that's constant contests at work, or maybe that's setting a clear pathway for where you're going to go in the future. But hopefully you've experienced that. And if you haven't, hopefully you select that in your next job. So again, finally, we'll round out the work this week with a quiz, and you can check out the flashcards that I've left open for each of the chapters, as well as the questions. So you can take some sample quizzes, and that's exactly where I pull the questions from. I take them myself, and I make sure that the questions aren't too confusing and that I got them right. And that's kind of how I select what to ask you all, because I really just want it to be an application understanding rather than being able to answer a multiple choice question right. So that's my summary for the week. Again, I'm here if you need anything at all. Check in with me. Let me know how you're doing. Hopefully you're enjoying some of the content in the class, and I will see you soon.